Hello and welcome to the Repurpose Your Purpose podcast. My name is Aurora Menigallo, and this podcast is all about doing work you love. You can check out more at repurposeyourpurpose.com and learn how I help people change careers when they're not sure what they want to do next, and how I help people who are already doing work they love grow into their next stage of evolution. So today I want to talk about what is work all about? What is the meaning of work? And why do I want to talk about this? I mean, it's another day and another article about AI, right? And it drives me, so many things drive me nuts about the whole conversation about AI, but I think the number one thing that really irritates me is how it completely ignores the meaning of work. Work is not just about doing a bunch of tasks and getting paid for them and then try to get rid of a bunch of tasks so you don't have to do them, right? That is such a I don't know, limited and narrow-sighted way of thinking about work. So I want to share with you today all the things that come to mind for me about what work is about, or what it can be about if you're doing work that you love. And also, I'm gonna leave at the end this episode. I'm gonna leave you at the end with a couple of questions for you to reflect on this and be inspired. You know, whatever stage of your career you're at, or whether you're doing something you love or not. All right. So, where should I start? And actually, before I start, let me tell you, you might resonate with some of the things I say, and some might don't, right? So just listen to this, and what works for you, you can contemplate a little bit more deeply. Some things might intrigue you, so contemplate them and see how you feel, you know, how you observe what comes up for you. And some things you're probably not going to resonate with at all, and that's okay, you know, just let them go. So the first thing that comes to mind for me about work is really it's how we spend most of our waking hours. And so at a very basic level, it's so important to do things you like. It's so important that you choose something that for the most part you enjoy doing, gives you energy. You know, it's something you like to learn more about, or feel, you know, from the inside, you feel like you want to get better at, and so forth. So I think it was, who was it? Joseph Campbell, Alan Watts? Who knows? I don't remember. But somebody who said, you know, if you do work you love, you'll never work a day in your life, something like that. So I'm a big fan of that. And I think really in an ideal society, and ideally for you, that is a really good goal to have, to really do something you enjoy doing day to day during your time. The second thing that really comes up for me is calling. So this is where, you know, some people will feel this more strongly than others. And for some people, calling in life has less to do with work. But I do really believe that we come into this world with a calling inside of us. And a calling is not, again, it's not just necessarily a profession, but it's a way of being we want to actualize, is something that resonates with us at a deeper level. So of course, the really most obvious, you know, expression of this with examples in the arts, and that can be a whole other podcast episode why that is. But it doesn't have to be something where, you know, you become famous or you do something special. It can be simply like a calling of working with your hands, of contemplating what happened in the past, of really being there for other people and taking care of them. I mean, there's so many different things, even less, even more embodied and deeper, like to embody patience in this life, or to embody compassion, or to embody courage, and great, being a force for good. I mean, I can give you lots of examples, but I think that ideally, and I'll talk more about this, ideally, the world of work will be a world that we enter as young people at first, but then later on, maybe with a change as we evolve. And it has room for each one of us to respond to our calling and to contribute to the overall well-being of our society and community. Which brings me to the next meaning of work, which is really one of contribution. So we get so disconnected from each other. We go to the supermarket, we pick something, we bring it home, we barely register all the steps that went into having, I don't know, tomatoes, in the supermarket, and maybe like 5 different kinds of tomatoes. And so if you think of everything we do together in our community, you can even start with your family, community, your city, all the way to the whole world. It's a web of interconnectedness. We're all interconnected. And so what happens is that we want that web to have room for everybody, and for everybody in the place where they can actualize their gifts and their calling. And that to me is like so important, because the other part of work, the other meaning of work, is the playground where we learn how to be with each other. Now, we also learn that in the family, we also learn that in romantic relationships, we also learn that with friends, right? We also learn that outside of work. But we also learn it at work, right? So, for example, we have knowledge that passes. Again, we have knowledge outside of work too, but this podcast and this episode is about work, right? So we have knowledge that passes from more experienced people to newer people on the job. We have a certain type of experience that comes with multiple years, maybe decades at work, generations of people innovating or working in the same field. Think of medicine. And so work is where we pass this knowledge along, together with, of course, education. We have mentorship. I don't remember who said that, but Michael Mead talks about it. Maybe he's the one that said that. I don't remember. But Michael Mead talks a lot about this, how a mentor is always supposed to be somebody other than your parents. Your parents are supposed to love you unconditionally, but it's another adult, it's another person that sees something in you and mentors you, right? So work is where we form those relationships and we grow through other people. It's also where we can encounter our biggest challenges and biggest learnings when it comes to power dynamics, to hierarchy, to finding our own personal expression and mastery or expertise. So there's a richness to work that goes on. And one of the things, this is not an AI episode, but let me just say one more thing about AI. I want to have episodes about AI. Let me put it that way. When we talk about all these jobs that AI will do without thinking about the relational aspect of learning on the job or learning from other people, which has already been eroded by the whole Google it, right? We're completely disregarding the whole emotional, social, relational aspect of work. Other things about work, I think there's great pleasure that comes from innovation, problem solving, mastery, creation. right? Especially if you're somebody who likes to work with a group. Think about, you join a group and then 1+1 is not equal 2 is equal 3. You know, you exponentially can do so much more. There's the brainstorming, there's the collaboration, there's the sharing that can be in itself so so much fun, so pleasurable, right? So there are all those aspects of work that can be really, really interesting for those people who are really into problem solving, details, things like that. You know, there can be a lot of pleasure also from doing those tasks. Contribution. I think contribution is a big thing. So in this hyper individualistic society, we tend to have a lot of advice and thinking about me. What do I get out of work? How much do I get paid, right? What is my career? What do I get to do? And all these kind of things. But I think we are sort of becoming blind to, or maybe underestimated, how much we need and enjoy contributing to the whole and being appreciated for that contribution. And maybe you've had an experience in your life where you couldn't work for a long time, or you were in a job where you didn't feel you were, you know, having much of impact, and you were not appreciated. And how did that feel? That probably did not feel good, right? And so work is also that place where we can really feel proud that we're doing something for society or for our group or even for our family, right? We're making a good living, we're supporting them, and we're appreciated for it. You know, we show up at work, we have good feelings what we're doing, and we are recognized for our contribution. So these things to me are so important. And I have these thoughts a lot, you know, when I, of course, when I coach people, but also when I read these completely insane articles about AI that it's like they're completely unaware of any of these other aspects of work. It's, you know, the most they'll talk about money, right? That's the most. But to me, this is very important because if you work with me, you've heard me saying this before. The environment is bigger than you. In other words, if we keep building systems that make it very, very hard to for people to self-actualize, we are not going to bring about the change that I would like to see for everybody. I would really like to see everybody doing work, and I'll say more about things that are not recognized as work. So hold that thought. Doing work that they enjoy, where they get some meaning, and they, you know, of course, make enough money and more than enough money to feel comfortable and to take care of themselves and their families. So thinking about the meaning of work, it's not just about what you're gonna do personally, but it's also about what systems are we building, what companies are we building, what environments for our teams are we building, what are we getting involved with, so that we're not working against a system, or we're not working you know, against the overall push towards less humanity, more greed, and really ignorance about all these aspects of work. And we're in fact making it easier for younger and older people to find the right work, business, career, leadership, employee position, whatever it is for them. Okay, so here's what I want to go back to: work that is not recognized as work. Now, work in my mind is not just the work that you get paid for. There's a lot of work that is not recognized as work in our society economically, like we are not get paid for, but it it does the same thing that I'm sharing with when I talk about what we think about work, the work you're paid for. Caregiving is one. Okay, this is a big one. People that take care of their older parents or other family members or their children, it's huge. And then, of course, there's work that is always seen, or always, I shouldn't say always, but it's often seen as like, well, it's not real work. It's like a gray area, right? Depending who you talk to, like the arts being number one, spirituality, caregiving, even the paid one in some countries. So I really want to invite you as well to see that what I'm saying also applies to a much larger set of activities, and to be aware of how are we building a system where those activities are recognized, where however we support each other, we recognize the economic importance and impact, and also the human impact of all of these other activities. Let me see if there's anything else here that I wanted to mention. I think I covered it all. But let me know in the comments or send me an email if I missed some other things that to you comes as far as the meaning, the meaning of work. So here are 2 questions I want to leave you with today. And these are questions for you if you don't know what you want to do next, you're looking to change careers but you're not sure, or you are doing work you like or that you love, and you want to contemplate how you want to grow in it, right? And if you're thinking systems, if you're really inspired by what I shared about, hey, let's build an environment and systems that actually make it easier for people to be to self-actualize and find work they love and do work they love, rather than making it more challenging, then you can also contemplate these questions in that context. So imagine looking back 5 or 10 years from now. So imagine yourself in the future, you're 5 or 10 years older. Imagine looking back, and what would you like to be able to say that you created or that you contributed to? Or even in 5 to 10 years, you're looking back and you're thinking, wow, I'm really happy I spent the past 5 or 10 years doing ... What would you like to look back and see you spent your time day by day doing? So that's it's 3 questions into one, but essentially you can answer all 3 or you can just pick one of those, but it's really like a looking back, right? And then the second part of this looking back, when you look back 5 to 10 years from now and you look back, in which ways would you like to recognize that you have grown? Okay? For example, you might look back and you might want to recognize that, wow, it was really hard for me to express myself, maybe say no when too much was asked of me, or maybe to step in front of the whole team and make a presentation, or maybe volunteer to lead a project, and you look back 5-10 years and you say, yeah, I can see that now, I can do that. I found my voice, I found my courage, I found my ability to express myself. So that's just an example. Okay, so my invitation is spend some time, contemplate this, see what comes. For you might be some insights and opening for action and to take. And if anything came up that you want to share with me, you can reach me at aurora@repurposeyourpurpose.com, or you can of course leave a comment here. Remember to subscribe, and I will see you at the next episode.